Do you have pain in your shoulder when you're trying to lift it up overhead? You think that maybe you have shoulder impingement or you're wondering what's going on? Well, today we are going to offer you a comprehensive guide to shoulder impingement. We're going to be discussing what is shoulder impingement, what causes shoulder impingement, and what you can do about shoulder impingement. Most commonly, people who have shoulder impingement syndrome have pain at about 90 degrees of flexion. So flexion is when you're bringing your arm up in front of you. 90 degrees is when your arm is straight out in front of you. Most people will have pain, and it's kind of a sharp pain at that point. And if they continue to lift their arm above head, that pain will usually disappear. Although when they get it all the way up pointed towards the ceiling, it may come back. So people are wondering, why is it that I only have pain in this one particular position? That's most commonly what we see with a true shoulder impingement syndrome. Now, I will say that your pain may have started that way and may have progressed to be something totally different. If that's the case, and I'm going to encourage you to look through our channel for other videos regarding shoulder pain and what may be causing it, because shoulder impingement truly is that pain at 90 degrees that goes away when you go above head. So that's how you can test for it. If you lift your arm up in front of you, straight out in front, and you have pain right when it's parallel to the ground, that is a shoulder impingement syndrome. And that pain should eliminate as you go above that 90 degrees. Now, why is it that you get pain at exactly that position? So the simple answer is that the arm bone is running into the shoulder blade. And you may say, but the shoulder blade is on the back of my spine, which is true, except there's this part of the shoulder blade that sticks out towards the front, and that's called the acromion process. That area you can actually feel on yourself. It's right at the top of your shoulder. So most people will be like, oh, that pain right there, that's the top of my shoulder. Yes, that is the acromion. But the acromion actually comes from the shoulder blade. So then you have the humerus, or the arm bone, and it can run into that acromion process as you're lifting your arm up overhead. That's most commonly why people will have pain exactly at that 90 degrees that decreases as they go above it, because the arm bone rotates away from that shoulder blade. Now, it's not actually the arm bone running into the shoulder blade that's causing your pain. There's tendons underneath there. You may have heard of the rotator cuff muscles. Those are 4 muscles that help to hold the humerus or the arm bone to the shoulder blade while your arm's moving through space. There's one in particular, it's called the supraspinatus, and it sits right on top of that humerus, and that's most commonly the one that is getting pinched in a shoulder impingement syndrome. And that's exactly why you have that pain at 90 degrees. That supraspinatus is in exactly the right position to get pinched at that 90 degrees. When you move your arm up overhead, usually the pinch is released. Again, you may have pain again at the end range of motion when your arm's perfectly up towards the ceiling. Now, you may be asking, are you sure it's a supraspinatus impingement? Chances are good that it is, however. If this has been going on for a while, there's also a bursa, or a fluid-filled sac, that sits underneath the supraspinatus, and it keeps the supraspinatus from rubbing on the joint that's underneath it. When the bursa repetitively gets aggravated, it can also cause pain that mimic that shoulder impingement syndrome. However, the truth of the matter is, if the bursa is that irritated, it's guaranteed that the supraspinatus tendon is also irritated. So, point being, no matter what, we have to deal with that supraspinatus tendon and why it's irritated in the first place. Which leads to the next question. Why do people get shoulder impingement syndrome? Well, the acromion, that part of the shoulder blade that sticks forward, is not sitting in the correct position. And this is what's causing that supraspinatus tendon to get irritated when you're lifting your arm up overhead. Now, a lot of people wonder, why is my shoulder blade not in the correct position? It could be from prolonged sitting, especially in a forward position, which a lot of people do with computers these days, or even when you're looking down at your phone. We call that text neck because everything starts to come forward and the shoulder blades come forward as well. There's lots of reasons why you may find yourself in that position regularly while you're also trying to do overhead activities. When that happens, that supraspinatus tendon gets pinched and can start to cause pain. you see that shoulder blade gets into a position where it's sitting in a different position. So the shoulder blade will, instead of sitting right next to your spine, it will become elevated or sit higher. It'll become protracted or slide around your rib cage towards the front. And it will actually start to downwardly rotate. All of this puts that acromion in the wrong position so that the supraspinatus gets pinched when you're moving your arm bone. So that leads to the next question. What can you do about shoulder impingement syndrome? You can probably see already that the answer is getting that shoulder blade in the correct position. Part of it is going to be postural, making sure that you're sitting in a good upright position regularly throughout the day. That when you're on your phone, it's elevated, your computer screen is elevated, so you're not sitting in this position for prolonged periods of time. However, if you've already done that for a long period of time and been in that position, it can be actually hard to get up into a correct sitting posture. So that's what we're going to talk about next, is what you can be doing to help get yourself and your shoulder blade in the correct position. The first thing I'm going to have you do is actually stretch your pectoralis minor. Now, most people are familiar with the fact that the pec major is sitting right here, and underneath it is the pectoralis minor. The pec minor actually attaches onto the coracoid process, which is another part of the shoulder blade that sticks forward. So if your pec minor is tight, it can actually help pull that shoulder blade forward. So anything you can do to stretch your pec minor is going to be extremely helpful. I recommend laying on your back over a foam roller with your arms out to the side. If you don't have a foam roller, you can simply put your arms behind your back and squeeze your shoulder blades together behind you. That's going to feel like a nice stretch through that pec minor. Now, a word of caution here. Many people will go and do a stretch in the doorway. It's actually called the doorway stretch, where they have their arms on each side of the doorway and they lean forward. I'm not a super big fan of this stretch because what happens is the muscles are actually having to contract to hold your arms in that position, and they're not able to stretch as well as they could. So although it can be used in a pinch if you're in the office or something like that and you can't actually lay down on the ground, or if you're not able to put your arms behind your back in order to get that stretch, it's not my favorite one for the pec minor. Now, what if you try that stretch and you're like, man, it is so tight and there's no way it can stretch because it's just so tight? Then I recommend you do a little self-massage to the pec minor. So you're going to start right at the crease of the shoulder and you're going to work down as if you're going towards your belly button. That's where the pec minor runs. Now, the thing is, it's deep, right? It's underneath that pectoralis major. So for a lot of people, they need to use their knuckles or their fist in order to be able to dig down deep in there. You can try using your fingers first and see if you find some tender spots, but you may need to put a knuckle into it to really get deep down into that pectoralis minor. Now that your pectoralis minor is moving better, we want to make sure that your shoulder blade is in the correct position. Now, it can be really hard to actually be able to see back there because, hello, you can't turn and look towards your back. So what you're going to do is you need to feel it. You should feel your shoulder blades when you're in the correct position. You should feel your shoulder blades lined up next to your spine. So you don't want to feel like those shoulder blades are winging out. You don't want to feel like your shoulder blades are on the side of your rib cage. You want your shoulder blades to be on the back of your rib cage and lined up next to each other. The other thing to watch out for is making sure that your shoulder blades are not elevated. So in today's culture, we tend to use these muscles up in here in our neck, which are accessory muscles of respiration. And when we use those, it kind of pulls everything up, including our shoulder blades. So you want to make sure that your shoulder blades are down and lined up right next to the spine. When I'm instructing patients in how to do this, I tell them to put their right shoulder blade in their left hip pocket and their left shoulder blade in their right hip pocket. So if you feel that kind of downward as well as diagonal motion, that'll help you get your shoulder blades in the right spot. Now, a really great exercise you can do once your pec minor is moving correctly and your shoulder blades are in the right spot is external rotation. Now, you can do this just in sitting, but I'll also discuss some ways to add gravity and make it a little bit more challenging. What you're going to do is just bend your elbow to 90 degrees. So your hand's going to be pointed straight out in front of you. You're going to keep your elbow tucked in next to you though. Bringing your hand out to the side is called external rotation. Now, for a lot of people, they can do this and just make sure that they're getting that proper activation, and that may be enough for you to start with. If you feel like you need more resistance, I recommend laying on your side and doing it against gravity. Again, gravity will provide a little bit more resistance. If you feel like you need a little bit more bang for your buck, I recommend putting a small weight in your hand. If you don't have any small hand weights, you can use something like a water bottle or a can of vegetables or something like that to use that as a weight to do that external rotation. That helps to get the rotator cuff muscles stronger so that they're able to hold you in the correct position. Now, my word of caution on this one is that I have a lot of patients who want to use TheraBand or a stretchy band for this exercise because it's easier to do it in standing. I'm not a big fan of TheraBand in general, but specifically for this exercise because it gets really, really tight when you're at that end range of external rotation. It makes it really hard for that muscle to contract correctly, which could lead to some compensation patterns. So if you have been given external rotation exercises by a physical therapist with a band and you feel like you're struggling to do them correctly and you use a compensation pattern to do it, I would recommend switching instead to just a hand weight, water bottle, or can instead of using the band. The band can be okay when you're doing a higher level exercise once everything's retrained, if you're trying to get back to a higher level activity like weightlifting or something like that. But when you're in the rehab process, usually it leads to compensation, which is going to further increase your pain. All right, there it is, your comprehensive guide to shoulder impingement. So now you know what it is, what causes it, what you can do about it. Which of these exercises was most helpful for you? Drop a comment below. Please click that like button and don't forget to subscribe.